Welcome to So Many Questions, the podcast where curiosity meets leadership. Join host Rebecca Goodman-Stephens, CEO of law firm Moses Singer, as she sits down with bold thinkers and thought leaders to discuss what motivates and drives their leadership styles and decisions. From candid stories to aha moments, we go behind the scenes to find out what really drives them. Enjoy the episode.
Hi, thank you for joining us for this episode of So Many Questions. I'm your host, Rebecca Goodman-Stephens, the CEO of Moses and Singer. And I'm thrilled to have with us today Kara Brothers, the former president of Starface, which is very exciting. And we're going to be talking together about all of your new adventures. So I'm super grateful for you being here. Hi, Kara.
Hi, Rebecca. Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to talk to you.
Yes. How are you doing today?
You know, I'm feeling kind of jazzy.
Jazzy.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I was not jazzy earlier this week, and now I feel like I got my pep in my step back.
What
so
got
I'm happy.
what got you jazzy again?
You know, I read before bed last night, so I kind of settled in. I had a good night's sleep.
A real book or audiobook? I mean, not the audiobook's not real.
Yeah. No, I read a fiction book, which is my way to unwind my brain. So if my brain is doing too much, I like a fiction book.
What was the book? I'm so curious.
I just finished it. It's called Salt Houses. And it's about like an intergenerational family in the Middle East, which I don't know a tremendous amount about family life in the Middle East. And the author Hala is this poet, and so the writing is just absolutely gorgeous.
Did it inspire you for anything specifically this week, or you just found it to be very relaxing?
Kind of grounding, yeah.
Grounding.
Of grounding. My as you know, as we'll get into, I'm launching my new business. It's the holiday season, and so I kind of feel like I'm running around like a chicken.
Yeah.
And I just need 2 feet on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of take a deep breath.
Exactly.
So let's get into it. I'd love to just hear a little bit about your story, how you got to Starface, your experience there, and then obviously we'll talk about now exciting new adventures are on the table.
For sure. Starface, what a dream. I think that was fulfilling a childhood dream for sure. You know, I think in my 17-year-old bedroom, I would be like, a CEO, a president, a leader of a creative business, a mindful business. And so I was searching for that for a while. But leading up to that, I worked at Google and in tech for most of my career. And what interested me about that was how pervasive technology is to our lives, how it touches all of us and can change us for the better or worse. And I just went headfirst at Google. I was in sales for a while, but genuinely I was looking to lead a company. I was looking to be a traditional leader in corporate America and in a creative field. And I found myself at Starface from a couple of connections who introduced me to the founder. But of course, which we can get into, a lot of stumbling and wrong fits and mismatches and deep diving into what I'm actually can offer brought me there. Circuitous answer. But.
Yeah, no, you kind of shape who you need to be as you kind of go through those experiences, right?
Exactly.
What did you learn at Google that took you to that next step? Like, what were some of the takeaways there?
Right. You know, I was at Google in a real heyday where the food was delicious. The environment that you walked into felt energizing to be there. They had this 20% of your time, do something else.
Oh, nice.
And so I think I learned what it's like to be kind of energized by your workplace. But also on the flip side, it was a very rigorous environment. And the performance reviews were, no joke. And so I also learned, what environments suit me and what don't, and what does it mean to be maybe a fish out of water in some places and how to bounce back, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could see that. And I think sometimes it's a plus to be different and to be a little bit, counter stream. And sometimes it's just not going to not going to be a fit.
Oh my God, Rebecca.
Yeah. What the 20% do something else? I didn't know about that. So walk me through what that is.
Okay, so I think the ethos is always be learning, always be exploring your passions, like anti-stuck energy, So in theory, which of course it was a theory a lot of times, 20% of your time and work day can be spent manager approved on another team, another project. And
Interesting.
I loved it, because then I would be reaching out to teams that I felt like had entrepreneurial spirit or just really cool people that were leading that department and just be like, can I kind of learn, what can I contribute? So it did expand what you thought was possible and expand your understanding of all Google had to offer, really. So it was smart.
And so it had to be within the organization?
It had to be within the organization.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I thought
that's interesting, actually, if it wasn't.
Well, yeah, because it made me think of something I read, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, there's an ADP survey. I think it was ADP. Anyway, you can take credit for ADP. Whoever it was a survey showing who the highest performers would be, like the demographics of highest performers within a business.
Okay.
And the results were, middle-aged woman, for some reason she had a cat, but also had a side gig. And that's the main message.
Whoa.
And that really shifted whether it's true or not, I do not know, but it really shifted my perspective in terms of passions and hobbies, and to really encourage that even more with employees to say, have a well-balanced, well-rounded life, then you re-engage possibly differently. So yeah, I was curious when you said 20%, that. I was thinking, is that it could be on anything, and then you kind of bring that energy back into the workplace.
I resonate with that so much. Do you?
I completely do.
Actually, you're a woman of many interests, and gotcha.
No, it does resonate with me, and I think sometimes people don't really connect those dots, but if you have a side hobby or something you're really interested in, you could connect that creativity to your current role in a very meaningful way. It's not like two silo activities. Yeah, that resonates with you too.
It does, because it's like, I think in my most kind of frustrated or angry with a job or with my employer, even with my own life, it's because I am not fulfilled in other places, or I'm putting too many eggs in this one basket. Like I can think of times where I've been like, I want to work on this project, or I want to do this thing. And if it wasn't happening in that way, I would get frustrated and resentful. But then, I've started a lot of little side projects in my life. And when I explore that creativity or remind myself that I have so much agency over, what I'm learning and doing, I lighten up at work. They're like, oh, you're happy. Oh, you're in, like things just flywheel. Probably my friendships are better. My marriage is better, and all of that.
Yeah.
Too.
So maybe Google could consider the 20% being outside of Google too. Who knows?
I love that. Hey.
But yeah, I definitely see that. And I love that kind of resonates with you too.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier the fish out of water, and that's intriguing to me.
Yes.
It's difficult to find a fit. It's difficult to know where it's something you need to work on, or is it just you're actually just need to be somewhere else? How did you work through that thought process, at Google? It's a big firm, obviously, and great prestige, but how did you kind of figure out this might not be for me?
I think that's a beautiful point, and I love sharing that message wherever I possibly can, because I think about both the experiences I've been through at Google and otherwise, and then leading businesses and having to have those conversations with employees. And I'm grateful to have seen both sides of it. And, the honest truth is, actually, I don't know how other people feel, but for me, it's really natural to question your worth or question, shoot, do I need to change my whole approach, change my whole personality? Like, I feel like it's only natural to at least go there for a second. So there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
But then, as I gained confidence, experience, champions, people in my corner, watching what I'm capable of, I started to realize, oh, no, you just have a particular skill set, a particular energy, a particular point of view that when matched with the right people in the right place is unstoppable. And now I'm so grateful because I can sense that and shift and make changes. But it was only after rock bottom is way too dramatic, but it was only after like going through a deep self-inquiry process for sure. Yeah.
No, I could see that. And I can imagine, I mean, I know actually myself personally, like it's a fine line in terms of being in a growth mindset, taking feedback, evolving, growing, questioning yourself, all that good stuff. But also sometimes being like, you know what I bring to the table really is great. And I just need to find the right fit to make that work. And it's a fine line.
How do you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How, I mean, is it just experience? How?
For me, I think it's experience. It's also other people's perspective who know you very well, whether it's in your team.
Beautiful.
Those are team members from my prior firm or consultants I've worked with.
Yeah.
That I could think of in the past who've kind of also given me a different perspective in terms of like, sure, you could do that, but what you really bring to the table, what really makes you different is X, Y, Z. I'm also I'm in the middle of doing a process of looking at how I am perceived, like a 360, but of all different types of peers with a coach, to then really identify what it is that are my strengths and then lead with that.
Yes.
But I think it is experience, time. I mean,
and you're
probably
talking
never done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. You're also talking about not a network. What am I thinking about? Like other people that can reflect back to you. And I think earlier in my career, I didn't have that much of that. And so it can be a little lonely, right?
Yeah.
And, you just mentioned a big company, big expectations, your family's proud, your friends are proud. Like there's a cachet behind it too. So if for some reason it's not a right fit, it is like, shoot, like it's becomes personal in a way. And I think about, I have always had a coach and someone to reflect back to me, but even what is growing stronger in me now is my own. You know what I mean?
That was going to be my follow-up because I think that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to then no longer really need that external validation and just completely have it within yourself where you go with your intuition. But I think that for me at least, that external validation, giving a different perspective has helped confirm my own intuition.
Ding, ding, ding.
We're on the same.
I agree.
Same page. Yeah. That's a goal, right? Like,
yes,
to get
exactly.
To that.
And I don't know about you, but I find that self-worth can fluctuate.
Yeah.
It's, it reaches new levels, but then it goes down. It's like a upward roller coaster where at some points in your career, you're crushing it. You can access that power really easily. And then in other moments, you're trying something new or it's a new role. It's like, there's that voice again. You could find it, but it's like it's another process.
Yeah, and I love that you're speaking about it and that we're speaking about it today, because for anyone out there who is in a leadership role, I can only imagine there's a lot of people feeling that way, and it really isn't necessarily what we lead with in terms of just conversations with others. Yeah. So that's awesome. So you realized maybe not the best fit for me at Google. What next? What did you do next? What did you do with that?
Right. So I was still trying to scratch this entrepreneurial itch, this leadership itch, this really stretch opportunity for myself. Not that Google wasn't, it was. But I left Google in the pandemic to join 2 engineers to build an AI product with them. And I obviously was pulling on my tech experience, pulling on my love of, at its best, what tech can do. And also, like, frankly, I was going to be awarded the opportunity to do things that I've never done before in terms of lead multiple teams, AI research labs, like things where I was like, what? And I'm a kind of person who thrives in the deep end a little bit. And
I can relate.
yeah, it's fun.
It is.
And I realized that that's not for everyone. And
No.
It's not. Mm-mm. And at first I would, when I give advice, which I try not to do, it's like, try something new, do it. And now I'm learning not everybody wants to do that. So anyway, that's a side note. And while I loved that experience, my creativity was being suppressed in a way. Obviously, building business is very creative, but I wanted something lighter on my feed. It was COVID. It was a sad time. And I put a little ping out into the universe to bring that opportunity to me. And I met the founders of Starface and was a sub 10 employee there. And then, started, I think the business was around $5 million, scaled it to over $100 million globally, and all of the mass retailers, built the team from, that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 50 plus people, really found exactly what that inner child was looking for. I found my sweet spot as a leader and as a businesswoman, and had the time of my life.
That sounds super exciting. And I love the brand too. I mean, I'm not just saying this because we're like on a podcast. What I love about it is most of the other brands, I'm not going to name them, but most of the other brands, I actually like the quality of their products.
Yes.
But they're more about hiding the pimple, right? Because for anyone who doesn't know, Starface is pimple patches that are very much, I don't know if this is the intention, but like to own the fact that it becomes a decoration. So it's like a star, it's a decoration on your face. So I like the fact that it's more about just owning it and turning it into a piece of art versus trying to hide it and camouflage it, which is what, us growing up was what we were doing.
I was putting toothpaste in my face. I love that you said piece of art.
Yeah. Is that the vision for it, or am I making that up?
That's exactly the vision for it. The mission was to make growing up and being yourself more fun.
Yeah.
And right? Like it is exactly that. Oh my God, I love it so much. And that's what the product stands for. That's what the universe around it stands for.
Yeah.
We had a mascot, a character, a cube that is silly and innocent. The whole thing, whole point was bring some joy to otherwise like what could be a lame experience.
Yeah. No, and I love it. I think it really is a bit of a game changer. And I see
Thank
that,
you.
With the young kids nowadays. And, and they're not so young, we all kind of partake in those
sure do.
Pimple patches. What did you enjoy the most in that role? Like what really made you, because like obviously you wanted, I'm so impressed by the way that you knew so early on what you wanted to do in terms of like an impact. That's impressive to me.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you. I'm probably making a little bit of that up, and hindsight's 20/20. You know what I mean? But
I mean, it sounds amazing.
I'm gonna remember that.
Well, because I'm not sure as a kid. Yeah, I have so many follow-up questions on that. But what did you enjoy the most at Starface?
Oh my gosh, so many thoughts. One is the people, truly. And I'm not just saying that, shout out Brian and Julie. There was from the beginning a fabric of experimentation, play. Let's not take ourselves too seriously. And I could feel that from the beginning. So that's period. And then to have it be my responsibility to grow that ethos and spread it as we scaled to a massive company, I was like, bet, I got that. So that was fun. And I liked the leadership. What does it mean to lead a fully remote business?
I didn't realize it was fully remote. Interesting.
Yeah. And what does it mean to lead a business of creative people, but also more traditional operations and metric driven, and what does it mean to have a culture where all of that is celebrated? I loved threading that needle.
Yeah, that's a tough one sometimes.
It is because I think, we all feel like what we bring to the table is the thing.
Yeah.
And it's not even an ego thing. I think it's a true thing. But you can really quickly get to be like, well, I do all of this. Well, you do all of that. And it's just kind of like, no, we're not going to have any of that around here. So that was fun.
So interesting that you say that, and kind of the concept of threading a needle. It's a conversation I was having yesterday at lunch around exactly that topic, and how in our roles as leaders, oftentimes it's about threading that needle between the different members of the team, the different departments, so they can have empathy for each other, understand what each other does. What really helped you do that? Like what skill, or was there a specific
I love that you say that. Because I do feel like it's another thing that makes leaders successful that we don't talk about that much. Right. Well, it's a natural skill set, to be honest. And I'm learning, not to get too woo, but as I dig into human design and all of this stuff.
That's very scientific.
It is
by the
scientific.
Way. Yeah, it really is.
Oh my God, I can't wait to
Yeah.
talk. I wish we could talk for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm learning that is how I'm built.
Yeah.
I am built to be able to interact with anybody, anywhere, and understand their perspectives. And back to childhood stuff.
I'm not being dramatic. I'm getting goosebumps because I think that's like the key skill to even understand that other people just bring a different perspective from where they're
Period.
at.
I know.
End of story. Yeah.
And what's, back to, I don't know who's listening and who has a journey like this or leading companies, but maybe wants to pivot. I think about back to the advice now that I think about it, people would, when I would say that skill in interviews, I could feel their eyes glaze over and be like, that's like, what? That's not a thing.
Really?
Now I think it's becoming more mainstream.
Really interesting.
And now I have the track record to prove it, which I'm so grateful for. But it's a superpower. I just have to be honest.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's interesting that people in interviews wouldn't see and value that as much.
I think, and I don't knock them because I think they couldn't see how you apply that, how I would apply that to make money, maybe,
Yeah, I think oftentimes it's not connecting the dots between a concept like that and then actually how you would run, how that would help you run a business because it feels softer
100%
of a skill than yeah. But I think it's a huge skill.
Yeah, like do you look for that when you're hiring?
1,000%. I definitely do. I look for that in the current team. To me, it's a question of respect too. A lot of times we speak about respect as a core value. To me, the utmost sign of respect, form of respect, is that you understand that someone else might disagree, has a different perspective. They see things differently than you do, and it doesn't mean that they're right, you're wrong, they're right. Like it just means they're bringing an additional layer to the table, and it just I'm passionate about that topic.
Me too. Absolutely, we could have that at tangent too. But and so fostering that. I think about the external. My leadership team, when I would hold our specific offsites, the kind of language I would use, and you're right. Like I would do ways of working documents, which have everyone spend time understanding how we all are wired differently and how that's our biggest freaking asset.
I love that. And I think it's a very important skill, right? To get different people who function differently. I actually, we spoke about this on a different podcast about predictive index. It's like a tool that you use to assess, like some of the other ones,
right.
But it was super helpful for me to understand, some people who were very quiet in a meeting, I'd find that super annoying. I'd be like, well, what's wrong with you? You're not engaged, right? You're not into this. And then I realized that, oftentimes those types of individuals are very much into it. They just needed me to break it down, or they were thinking about the 10,000 things that would need to get done to implement the idea, Yeah.
I'm really glad you said that. That's another thing. I think there were a lot of times at Google and Starface where I'd be in meetings and I would be the quiet one. And I'd be like, in my head, I'd be like, Cara, you're the leader. Talk, do it. And I'm just kind of like.
That's so funny. The internal dialogue.
Exactly. While I'm trying to do a thing, but the voices in my head. And now I just like, I have more empathy for the quiet person in the room who maybe follows up with the most wonderful insight later. Or who is digesting and is actually connecting the dots, not just like waiting to talk. So I don't know what my point of that was, but I love now it seems like the conversation is around each of us has our own style. And it's not about being a snowflake and catering, but it is about like, it's our job as leaders to bring that out.
Yeah, and like have people in their highest and best use, position them in a way where they can really, to your 100%. Point, like really bringing out whatever is their strength and creating. That's a real skill.
Yes.
Why were you not speaking up? Was it that you weren't speaking up, or you were just digesting? What was that?
Exactly. I still do that.
You do?
And not at Starface towards the end, but if I'm being frank, some of the early conversations around fundraising, when I was in the room with investors, or when I kind of started as a chief of staff, and when I was shadowing my founder, who is a tall man and a kind man, and we always had a great relationship, but I would watch him work these fundraising rooms, and I was just trying to figure it out. And I was trying to say, what is Cara's style going to be when I'm in
Yeah.
this room? Like I kind of already was just like, I was just observing, if I'm honest, you know? And I remember some comments like, are you going to say anything? And I was just like, shit, am I? And so I was just absorbing.
I love that you're sharing that, because it really is the journey to just being your authentic self as a leader.
Yeah.
And like that internal voice. I mean, I can very much relate to that of like, you know, well, it doesn't have to look like what I'm looking at in terms of leadership
There we
that I
go.
see. There are things that I like. There are things that I don't like.
Absolutely.
And who am I as a leader? And I think
Oh.
that's a real journey that, I mean, I think most people go through, but I think it's super important to
so.
talk about it,
I'm
right?
glad. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, and I'm actually glad. I don't think I've reflected on that, and I have a lot of now empathy for that woman 5 years ago, who after the meeting I would, be upset with myself. Of course, I would beat myself up, and I would like text my boss friends like, "Oh no, did I mess up?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, you should have said something." And then and now I'm like, "Nah, Cara, this was all part of your process." Because again, once I found my way, I would say whatever I wanted to.
Yeah.
But part of my learning process is a little bit of a watching, adapting. That's just the way it is.
I completely relate. So anyone who knows me today will not believe this. Just a heads up. I know they're going to be, that's not true. But it is true. The first, I would say 3 years of my career, I was either silent or asking questions, which is actually where the podcast name came from, for that very reason. And I think it's okay. I think it's actually a great thing, because you really then observe, learn, and then when I was ready and I knew I had substance to add, that's when I spoke.
I love it. And
So
look at
that
you
relates
now.
to me.
Yeah.
Now it can't stop me now, as everyone who works with me knows. I'm sorry. So I love that. So what after stuff? So you had this great experience. You found your
Yes.
creative self. You were in a
Yes.
leadership role. You could lead the way that you wanted to lead as who you are. So sounds super fulfilling. Great brand, great teams. So
Yes.
what next? It's so exciting. And I'm happy we're talking to you at this point in your career in
Me
terms of like where
too.
you're going next.
I'm thrilled. I am now threading another needle where you can hear that I really lean into the human side of all the things, of the business building, of the leadership, of all of this. And at Starface, I fell in love like firsthand with what it's like to create a whole world that your customers, your audience can step into, and that means something. And now I'm circling back on another childhood dream where, I really wanted to be the next Oprah, the next Gwyneth Paltrow,
Yes.
the next like modern day media company that has a message that is here to serve, but also entertain in a playful but so real capacity. So I am now building my media company, which is called New Juice like you're drinking, media, New Juice Studios. And I have huge visions for this. All of the things that we've seen be successful, and some of my peers, why am I calling them my peers? But hey, Reese, hey, Issa, hey, Oprah. But I'm starting with the micro content space, which if I'm honest, I just started to get exposed to at Starface. And while I'm sad to see that our attention spans are bringing us to watching content on
like
our
30 seconds.
Exactly.
Rom-com.
Like, that makes me a little sad. But then I'm like, no, Cara, you can infiltrate that with content that matters, content that means something, stories that I have a real love of global perspective. So bring in different perspectives. So it's going to be a scripted and unscripted, starting with content built for the phone, but that makes you feel something rather than just a sad dopamine hit.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think there's so much potential there. There's kind of I don't want to say like there's a bit of a blank slate now in terms of where media is going, right? And there's so many opportunities. That sounds like really a great idea. And I can't wait to see what you do with it and kind of what comes from it.
Thank you so much. I know I am also really drawn to the disruption that's happening in that space. And I think about, back to hindsight 2020, I think about Google. I was there at a disruptive time. This AI before it became everywhere, Starface. I'm now learning, I like the messiness and just kind of being able to back to kind of figuring out and experimenting with the millions of others who are trying to figure this out.
That's where you can really create new things, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's where there's
100%.
huge potential. You mentioned earlier in passing, but I'm going to hone in on this.
Let's do it.
You mentioned in passing that you try not to give advice anymore. And I love that very much. It's something I feel like the older I get, the less advice I have, but I also am trying to intentionally, I don't know anything anymore.
So
there's less black and white responses to things.
I feel that.
So it very much resonated with me, and I wanted to kind of understand from your perspective, your thought process there.
Oh, so fun.
Sorry, I didn't know if you meant it as a deep comment, but we're doing this.
Yeah, but we're out here. I love it. Are you a projector? Are you a human design projector? We'll talk about that later.
I don't know. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I need to understand more about that question. Yes, I don't know.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
talk.
you'll let me in.
Okay, so first of all, I didn't even think about what you said, but that's exactly right. The older I get, the less advice that I have. Whoa, I'm gonna have to digest that after this. I think it's kind of building on all of the things that we've uncovered today together, where I think about the times that I've been given advice, and how in my most vulnerable times, that advice has either taken up too much of my brain space or too much power, and I felt like I must follow this advice. And now I'm learning, back to what we said, that there's a deep trust in myself and what lights me up and what feels natural. And so when I give advice, it's mostly a more grounding advice, and it doesn't take people out of what they already know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's when I'm most powerful, and I feel like that's when the people that I, mentor or lead, just bringing them back into their own knowing. Yeah.
I love that. And that really resonates with me, because it's, to your point, it allows them to feel powerful and to resonate with themselves versus it kind of takes me back to the point on respect and, accepting that someone has a different perspective and kind of cherishing and celebrating that is to also respect that they know better for themselves.
Exactly. That's the right way to say it.
Right?
Exactly. We do. We don't all we need help. We need, we need to talk it out. But in our quietest, most confident moment, we kind of know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I wanted to ask you that because
Thank you. It's fun.
It's also something through YPO that I've learned to kind of hone that skill, and it's a bit uncomfortable. In Forum, for those that you don't know, in Forum, there's a whole process to it, and some of it is to not give advice, but it's to share how something resonates with you, right?
Yes.
That's the whole concept. So, but it's a very strange feeling because you actually end up talking a lot about yourself and not giving the other person advice. So yeah, it's kind of helped me hone that skill.
Oh my gosh, I agree, and I don't think I realized how intentional that specific process was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, food for thought on that. I love that topic.
So fun.
So if I speak to you, we will have to speak before this, but obviously, in the next 3 years, where does this go? When I see you in 3 years, I'm like, oh my goodness, Cara, we'll see each other for lunch. But oh my goodness, Cara, what has been going on? Where are you today? What does that look like?
Oh my God, so cool. The truth is, I'm going to spend my winter break doing that because I see 10 years from now and I see 3 months from now.
I know
what I mean?
I know it's kind of a tough.
I love it.
It's a tough timeline, right?
Because
the long-term vision.
Exactly.
And then what your projects
do.
Yeah.
So I will say in 3 years, I have employed many out of work, beautiful artists who have stories to tell. I have threaded a needle between brands that are aligned with my vision and content to build a sustainable business. And I have grown, and there are doors that open for me and the people who are working for me in ways that I just can't even see right now.
No, I love that. I mean, that's you've kind of done your homework already.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's where I'm at.
No, I love that. And I can't wait to see where this goes.
Thank you.
Super excited. I could talk about this all day, but we cannot. So
Damn it.
I know.
Can you have an all-day podcast next?
I'm not
one
sure.
would listen
I'm not
to
sure everyone
that.
would listen
No one
to
would
it,
listen
but
to
we can still have it. What would you tell your? We're obviously extremely young, but what would you tell your even younger self? Like, let's go back 20 years.
Okay, hold on. I'm 20 years old. Okay.
What advice would you give yourself with everything that you now know?
I kind of hate this advice that I'm going to say. So,
Okay.
but this is the truth.
So intrigued.
Walk your own path.
Why do you hate that?
Because I wouldn't have known what to do. I think I was actually, frick, it's just so hard. But yeah, I think I would have accepted the weirdest version of Kara and the most off kilter of dreams and thoughts that I had and run towards those rather than trying to be follow a certain path that was more tried and true.
Yeah. I love that. What I'm thinking in my mind is it's a tough one because I wonder if you learned that because you did go through a path that was tried and true,
Exactly.
right? Like but yes, it's
that's what I was thinking. Like I couldn't tell that 20-year-old because she didn't know what I was talking about. She wouldn't have known what I was talking about.
Sure, follow. Yeah, that sounds like a yoga poster.
Yeah,
but once you're in it, you're like, absolutely makes sense.
Exactly.
No, I love that.
What would you have
Told myself.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar to kind of what you're saying. I think kind of what we were discussing about the internal validation, like trust yourself, trust who you are, trust your instinct, trust how things feel to you. But I also feel like similar to what I was saying about your one, I think you gain that through experience, through going through things, right? Yeah. So I think it's good advice, but I'm not sure. You know, I've heard a great quote recently. It's actually my mom told me, advice is like giving a bald man a comb. So it's like if you don't know what to do with that or it doesn't seem useful to you,
I like
right?
that, though.
Like, so at the time, 20-year-old, I'm not sure I would have really known what to do with it. But yes, that's what I would tell myself.
Yeah, but here we are.
Doing everything fabulous.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Cara. Thrilled. And I can't wait to, we'll have to do this again when things are launched and kind of get a catch up.
I would love that. That's great. This was too short. Thank you for having me.
I love it so much. Thank you. Thank you to our listeners. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon at the next episode of So Many Questions. Thank you. I'm your host, Rebecca Goodman-Stephens. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of So Many Questions, where curiosity meets leadership. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please share it with a colleague and subscribe to and rate So Many Questions on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. To learn more about host Rebecca Goodman-Stephens or law firm Moses Singer, visit mosessinger.com. Join us for a new episode when Rebecca sits down with another bold thinker and thought leader to explore what motivates and drives their leadership style and decisions. Until next time, stay curious.